So tonight I've got another guest on the channel and I'm pretty excited about bringing him on. Somebody I actually met through YouTube of all places. I didn't think that would happen, but I actually met a lot more people than I thought through this crazy hobby we all have in common. Of course, I'm talking about Ryan Clayton. I actually stumbled upon his channel a while back when I was Googling 100 milers and watching recap videos, and he's got some of the best. You know, he's got a filmmaking background and his video in production and editing is just, on point. So yeah, super excited to have him on the show. We've actually grown to be pretty good friends. We talk like regularly about YouTube things and, shoes and all kinds of stuff, and pretty cool to have somebody in the same boat to be able to bounce ideas off of. With all of that out of the way, I will finally bring my guest on, Ryan Clayton. Thanks for joining me, man. How's it going tonight?
What's up? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, awesome. No, I appreciate it. I mean, we're in the same boat. We both have kids. We both try to do these live streams. It's it's challenging trying to do both at the same time.
That's for sure.
Yes. So I've got some topics that I want to try to cover today, runner to runner. We're going to bounce ideas off each other and maybe talk about our experience a little bit. But before we do that, I kind of want to introduce you to my viewers because maybe they haven't seen you before. And so I want to just, rewind time to where you're from and what got you into the crazy sport of ultra running.
Yeah. Awesome. So I live in Indiana and started out in triathlon years ago. It was just kind of like a totally different time of my life. I was working in restaurants, like managing restaurants, and one of my good friends, we were not really we were like kind of athletic, like we had done, like I'd played soccer growing up and everything, but it'd been a couple years since we'd really done anything. One of my good friends was just like, hey, I think I'm going to sign up for a triathlon. This guy's trying to get me to do one. And I was like, no way. Triathlon, cool. Have fun with that. And then it just kept eating at me. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to sign up. So we did it together and it was crazy. Just a little sprint triathlon. We swam, I think it was 300 meters in a lake, and it felt like we were swimming across an ocean. And then from there just kind of got the endurance sport bug, really started looking at more triathlons and just did a ton of sprint triathlons, a ton of Olympics, did a couple halves and then did a full Ironman. And during the time I was doing training for the full Ironman, I started watching a couple YouTube channels, Ginger Runner, Jamil Curry, Run Steep, Get High, all that, Billy Yang, and was like, this looks interesting too. And signed up for my first trail race by accident. I didn't know it was a trail race until I got there. And wait, dude, what kind of shoes are you supposed to wear for this? Exactly. No, exactly. I just show up, it was totally last minute. I saw some race on Facebook and it was the next day. And I was like, oh, I could do a 5K, 5K. We'll sign up for that. And I show up to it and everyone's parking in the parking lot and I go to where the start line is. I'm like, where's this race going? I didn't check the map. I didn't check anything. And I get there and we start I realized about 30 seconds before it started that it was a trail race because the race director was like, all right, you guys are going to all run to the end of this field and then you're going to turn right into the trail. And that was my first trail race and had an absolute blast. That was pretty early on because I was running trails during half Ironman and Ironman stuff too. But after I did a full season of training for Ironman, it was just it took so much time to train for the bike and everything, and just kind of said, you know what, I just want to focus on just running for a while and did trails, and then got the ultra bug, did a couple 50 milers, did my first 100 miler at the Grindstone 100 in Virginia.
That's a tough first.
Yeah. Again, it was kind of didn't know what I was signing up for.
How much gain is on that race? It's 22,000 or something. Yeah, it's right?
22,000 feet of gain for my first 100. And it was it's such a crazy race. Like it starts at 6 p.m. Just like so many weird things about it. But I was just looking at ultra sign up, and I was like, I need a race in October. I want it to be like within driving distance. And it was like, there was like one or two options like at the time, 4 or 5 years ago. And then every year since then, I've done at least one, completed at least one, and just finished my most recent one 3 weeks ago now, the No Business 100.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I watched that video. It's really awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that was a beautiful race. I've, been able to go to some cool places and do some cool races, and that was definitely up there as one of the more fun ones that, it was a single loop. It was awesome.
Did you grow up in Indiana, or did you end up there after some time?
Yeah. My family moved here when I was, I think, like 3 or 4. So yeah, I don't remember anything else. But
is there is there a good like trail running community down there?
Yeah, certain parts, not so much exactly where I live. Like I can drive an hour or two and get to like some really, really great communities of people. Like down in Indy, down in Terre Haute, there's a strong group in Terre Haute that does a lot.
So you did your first few races, and you kind of got the bug. At what point were you like, I'm going to buy a GoPro and I'm going to film all this and put it on YouTube?
I don't know. Yeah. So, watching a lot of these YouTube videos and everything, my curiosity, it was more curiosity than anything, I think. And I was like, I started, like, I actually have a couple videos that no one will ever watch that I filmed on my phone just to test it out.
Yeah, I've got those too. Don't worry.
Yeah. And, so I did like 1 or 2 videos like that, and I was like, this is kind of fun, and it was interesting, and like I have like an artistic side, and it was it like scratched that itch. And then I bought a GoPro. I think it was like 4 years ago maybe when I made my first video was actually a race video, Jackson County 50 miler from, like I said, like maybe 4 years ago or something. And for the first like year or two, it was really sporadic, like posting maybe once a month or once every 4 to 6 weeks or something. But not until about the 3rd year or so when I actually started taking it seriously and was like, I want to start putting more videos out and documenting this experience more than just, it was really when I was training for Grindstone, I guess, that I was kind of like, this could be really cool. To put together like a series or something. But. So
before YouTube, were you a filmmaker? Were you like shooting weddings? Were you at bar mitzvahs? No. Did this all come about? Did like all of your creative filmmaking come from running and wanting to just share your stories on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good question. No, I hadn't ever done any film editing or anything like that. I had taken a lot of photography classes in high school. But again, that was high school. Like that was a long time ago. Shooting on film and developing it in a dark room and all of that. And so I kind of like that was like my like artistic side was kind of like I like to, capture images, and I like to, frame shots and things like that. And like that never went away. Like I was always like that stayed since I was young. But all of my video experience has been centered around running and like just kind of like that documentary side. I would really love to get into like narrative stuff, and I actually have started writing a few things, but yeah, I love telling stories. That's the biggest thing. It's fun. It's really fun capturing like really cool images or shots or whatever, and like putting them together. I like the editing process too. Like that doesn't feel like a burden or anything like that. It's fun to.
I have mixed feelings on that.
Yeah. It's definitely like, sometimes it's definitely just like hard work that you just have to finish. Like there's no motivation. Yeah. Like it's just like, it's just like you're halfway through an edit and you're just like, oh my gosh, I hate everything that's on the screen right now, and I need to finish it. And then when you finish it and you put it out, you're like, that wasn't that bad. Like that was okay.
I find it's fun when it's something like creative. Like if you're trying to piece together a drone shot to someone running down a trail and there's like beautiful scenery, but it's not fun when I'm looking at my stupid face talking and then I'm trying to take out all the mess ups in between, like clip. My editing style is just like snip out all the, I'm like swearing at myself that I can't talk. And if anyone saw the raw footage, because like like big YouTubers have editors, like, Peter McKinnon, Matty Hippoy, those guys, they all have like editors who edit their stuff. If I ever hired an editor, it would be the most embarrassing. It would have to be my wife or like my sister or something like that. I'm not sure I can hand that job off.
Yeah, there's, for every minute that actually made it to YouTube, there's probably at least an hour of footage that never made it. I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's a lot of times it's 2, 3, 4 takes to get the right sentence out without stumbling over some word or something, for sure.
So from the filmmaking from YouTube, you pivoted and you connected with Training for Ultra, Rob over there. And from there, you made a pretty mind-blowing series. Like the cinematography, the audio, the editing, the graphics, like the little cool mountain graphic in the corner of the elevation game from all the runs. All that stuff is like, it looks like it should be on HBO. Like it's real high quality stuff. So did you find that to be an enjoy? By the way, everybody, if you haven't checked it out yet, go check out Running the Triple Crown on Amazon Prime. Is that the only place they can find it?
Yeah. Vimeo too, worldwide.
Cool. Yeah, so go check that out if you're into ultra running. It's about 200-mile races, and Ryan follows an athlete around and does some amazing cinematography around that. Did you find that to be as rewarding as YouTube, or was that like a job? Because it looked like a tremendous amount of work.
So when I was actually traveling around, because you introed it really well. It was 3 200-mile races. The first one was the Bigfoot 200 in Washington. Second one was the Tahoe 200 around Lake Tahoe, and the third one was the Moab 240 in Moab, Utah. And so traveling and doing the car camping and filming, it was a lot of work, but it was also like an extremely fun, just like running kind of like just like adventure. Like it was a blast. Like it was so fun, just being out there and following, and some just incredible people, like really, really cool community. And then, when I got home to do the editing and try to edit down, there was like 7 terabytes of data, or 7 terabytes of video and audio and everything. And I mean, just massive. And I mean, it wasn't like I was recording like high quality, video codec. So it was like, I mean, it's taking up a lot of space.
Were you going to the Ninja that whole time?
Yeah, Ninja. Wow. I was doing the ProRes 422. But it was just, I mean, we were talking 3 200-mile races, and they each took about 4 days, and there was a day on each side. So about 3 weeks of pretty much like filming every day. So you're talking like, I mean, that's like a small budget, like indie film type shoot, like a 3-week shoot. So you're talking like a lot of footage, and I mean, it's documentary style. So it was, a lot of just kind of like holding the camera and shooting and hoping something happened. So let's make this interesting, the work, it took about 9 months to finish editing, and and it was actually like, we didn't like, there was no like strict approval process. Like it was just me and Rob. Like we, it was like self-funded. There were some sponsors. I shouldn't say self-funded. There were sponsors, but we didn't have any checks and balances or anything. Like no one was telling us what to do. Like it was like I was editing it. I was putting it together, sending it to Rob, say, hey, do you like this? And, that was a ton of work, and it was honestly, had no idea how much it was going to end up how much work it was going to end up being. Because at first, when I actually reached out to him and shot the idea over to him, it was like maybe 6 or 8 months before the first race, and I originally just pitched like a one like feature length film sort of thing, covering like the 2 or 3 months. I wanted to do a lot of like behind the scenes and stuff in between and everything. And it turned into like, he was like, why don't we just do like a series or something? And I was like, okay, like that's probably not going to be that much more work. Like not knowing what I was talking about. And then it turned into a 6-episode series. And then I was shooting for about 30 minutes an episode. So it's like, I mean, very rewarding at the end of the day to see it up there on Amazon, and just, yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Like, but yes, tons and tons of work.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to YouTube, I have a question for you. Do you find that YouTube, for me, just talking from personal experience, do you find that filming, being under pressure to maybe get a review out, I don't know if you feel that pressure like I do. It's can get uncomfortable sometimes. Do you find that that actually has a negative impact on training? Or do you think the YouTube channel actually gets you out the door to run more often?
Yeah, that's another good question. For me, it's, I would say that it's probably like, it goes both ways. Cause there's a lot of times where, I'm like going out on a run and I'm like, it would be really great if I was going to do 10 miles today, but I need to finish that video and I can't spend an hour and a half on this run. Like we're just going to go for like a 4-mile run or something. So there are some days where it probably detracts from training a little bit. But for the most part, I think it's a positive thing because it does get me out the door more. Because I know that there's, I mean, at this point now, a couple thousand people that are going to hold me accountable to, like, I got to train for this race and I need to be ready. And if I, go out there and like embarrass myself because I haven't been training, then, that's one thing. And that's kind of like in the back of your mind sometimes, but more so than not, it's a positive, I would say, because it does get you out the door and holds you accountable.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What about
though.
you? Is it?
That's a good point with the pressure though. Like, the race videos in particular, I hate, well, I won't say I hate, but my first series of videos was the Vermont 100 and I DNF'd there. And leading up to that, like, in retrospect, I wish I never announced that I was even running the race because you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I kind of I put a lot of pressure on it and I kind of made it public, and it would almost be better off to just keep it to myself. And if it went well, maybe make a video. And if it didn't, maybe make a video or don't and just keep it to myself. But it turned out, actually, it was kind of nice. It was kind of liberating because it was public. So I made a video anyways, and it was kind of I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, like people saying, hey man, thanks for that. It made me feel good about my DNF, because a lot of people don't share DNFs, it's not something we're proud of, but we can learn a lot from them. So it's worth sharing. And it's actually, in my opinion, it's a better story than someone doing really well, placing first place. I'd rather hear from the guy at the back of the pack that's been out on the trail for 15 hours for a 50 miler, than the guy who ran a 50 miler in 7 hours. So I feel being in the moment, it sucks when you're the guy who has to be like, well, I didn't do it, but being able to share your stories it's still valuable regardless of what happens, unless you end up crying on the side of the trail. You know what I mean? Yeah. but
it definitely does. It definitely does help you stay accountable too, because, and I mean, people can do this with any type of social media. Like, I mean, you can like this last couple 2 months ago or so, a month and a half ago, I did a solo 50 miler, and I put it out there. I was like, I'm going to go do it. It's this weekend. I'm training, or it's a couple weeks from now. I'm training for it. And it was like, I made it very public. And while, like the first 10 miles of that day, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, why did I tell people I'm doing this?
Especially for a solo. With a solo, you could just quit whenever you want.
I know. And that was, honestly, that was one of the most probably character building runs I've ever had in my life, because there wasn't even anyone else at the park. Like there was no one out there, like no one even like watching to see if I was like just gonna crawl back into my Jeep and go home. But like the whole time I was just like, it's like this is something that I wanted to do, first of all. So it wasn't like a negative type of pressure. It was a positive pressure because it helped me finish something that I set out to do, which I think is really good. I think there's a lot of, like people can handle that type of pressure differently. Like sometimes it's going to be negative. There's a lot of when a lot of people that you see that are out there in like the public eye, like that type of pressure is super negative. But for me in that situation, it was super positive because it helped me finish that day. And I mean, if I was by myself and I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would have been like, forget it. Like 25 miles is fine.
Yeah. I think one other benefit of the YouTube channel is like, I could never just let myself go at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like who's going to watch a video about a fitness watch from a guy who's clearly let his body fall apart? You know what I mean? So I guess from that aspect, I'm kind of grateful that I have the insurance policy of all the eyeballs, watching in public. So what do you have like a day job? Do you something that you do other than YouTube? What's your 9 to 5?
So I have a couple jobs. My 9 to 5 is I work at Purdue University in like sponsor programs administration. So it's a complicated way to say I help faculty like secure grants. I help them with their proposals, and I help bring money into the university for research, like really cool stuff too. I'm not on the scientific side, I'm on the administrative side, but I manage a small team that, we're sending out like millions of dollars worth of proposals to governments or industrial partners and doing like some mind-blowing research at the university. So that's my 9 to 5. And then I also am a contracted audio professional at a church. And I put in about 15 hours a week there. And then I also have like my business of like YouTube and everything, but I'm also a like triathlon and running coach online. So I have a few athletes that I've had a couple athletes that I've had for 4 years.
That's great.
And then a couple new ones. So yeah, I stay busy.
Yeah, a lot of that leads into my next question, because you've got kids, I've got kids. I know the struggle of time. Dude, the time management struggle is an ever daunting thing in the back of my mind. Like when I'm doing YouTube stuff, I'm constantly thinking about the mechanical engineering stuff I'm supposed to be doing, and vice versa, right? So it's a juggle, and especially with kids. Like sometimes I find myself in this room, because this is where I do my regular work and the YouTube stuff, for like hours at a time. And then, my kids are home now, they're homeschooling and stuff. So how do you manage?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out how to soundproof this room because it's getting to a point. So how do you manage that? Because I'm barely hanging on over here. I don't know, man.
I don't know if I have any advice. So I've got 2 kids in elementary school, and their school is actually open.
Wow.
And we decided to send them. We had the option of doing the online learning, so like getting an iPad and doing everything at home, or sending them to school. And I mean, over the summer, everyone was convinced that schools were going to stay open for 2 or 3 weeks, and then everyone would be online anyway. That actually didn't happen. Like they've actually figured out really good ways to stay safe. And I mean, all the kids got used to, within a few days, they're all used to wearing masks. And
I thought that was really amazing. My 2-year-old will wear a mask, and he's like the most stubborn kid ever, but he'll put it on and wear it all day. It's amazing.
I will admit I had serious doubts that it was going to work for kids. But the kids have at the schools around here have been doing awesome. And so schools have stayed open. They've had a few days here and there where they're home, but I mean, it's my job is also moved to being online. So I used to go into an office, and for the past 9 months, I've been working from home. So that's actually been, like the job, pretty much nothing about the job changed, except for the face-to-face with my coworkers. But we still do like Zoom and everything. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's difficult. I don't get much sleep, I guess. But that's not good advice. It's just a lot of, unfortunately, I know there's a negative connotation to this word, but it's a lot of hustling. Like it's just, finding the 15 minutes here and the 30 minutes there. And I mean, yeah, there's some nights where it's just like, okay, I gotta zone out on Netflix for tonight. Yeah. Like I cannot do any more work. Like my body and my mind are just dead.
Yeah, like I feel you, man. Like I always talk to friends or family and they're like, hey, have you seen that new series on Netflix? I'm like, no. I haven't.
Yeah.
Hey, let's pull up some chats, see who we got talking here. We've got quite a few. It's 3 a.m. in Greece right now. I'll stay awake for you anyways. Hey, thanks, Ernie. That means a lot. Matt Roberts, what a nice surprise. Keen, I'm listening from Bundaberg, Australia. That's a really cool thing to say, Bundaberg. Nice. YouTubers Unite, Matt LeGrand. Hey, man, thanks for joining.
What's up, Matt?
Tuning in from Bedford, Indiana. Not sure how long I'll be able to hang for. Still not in sync with the time change. I know. I feel you on that, especially with kids. Their clock doesn't change, but everything else in the world does change. Platts 33. Hey, man, thanks for joining us. Austin S.
Hey, what's up, man?
Austin S. says, who's the other guy? I hope he's
just a nobody.
Which one of us is he talking about, though? That's the real question. Josie says, hi, everybody. Hey, Josie, thanks for joining us. Goku Runner, what's up? Love Ryan's videos. Austin S., hi.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Salted Wasabi, I'm sorry to say I can't hang for long. It's past 1 a.m. here, but I had to say hello to you guys. And a special thank you to Dave. I'm finally chasing my summit. Greetings from Portugal. That's awesome, man. Nice. Congratulations. Get after it.
Put a sticker on that.
Hey, Ryan, your Jackson County 50 video was great work. I agree. That was a great video.
Awesome.
Ryan, are you a sponsored athlete by Ultra? That's putting you under the gun right there.
Yeah, no, not sponsored. There's very specific ways that we have to describe ourselves. I'm on the Ultra Red team, which is more of like a influencer team. It is an influencer team. It's not more like it is. It's we get like free shoes and free clothes and stuff. And we just basically have an agreement that we don't wear other brand shoes and we kind of promote the brand a little bit. So
fair enough.
It's awesome. Yeah. Been on that team for 5 years now.
There's there's like a Solomon version of that too. I forget what they call it. It's like like the influencers and like you post pictures of your shoes on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. I'm a big fan of Ryan's videos. Looks like you brought a lot of your viewers with you. So
sweet.
I might have to introduce myself if everyone's a Ryan viewer.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm interviewing Dave tonight.
Here's another example. Also, I'm not familiar with Chase the Summit, but I'll check out his channel. Hey, thanks. I really appreciate that. William Woodward, glad to catch a video. Also just finished reading Training for Uphill Athlete today. It was a really great read and helped me teach me scientific knowledge about running that I never knew before. Highly recommended. Oh, that's great. That's a great tip. Thanks for sharing. Nice. British Soldier from South Wales. Oh, cool. Thanks for joining. Just another Midwesterner from Eric the Red. Matt LeGrand, Ryan, I can't believe you don't have a film background. That documentary was extremely professional.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's nicely.
Just watch a lot of YouTube videos on how to do things.
Dude,
that's the new film school.
I tell you what, it's not just related to filmmaking. That is where I learned how to use any of these tools I have on my desk right now. But I mean, even in like engineering, I don't even want to tell you what line of work I'm in, but a lot of the things I do at work regarding mechanical engineering, I learn on YouTube. So, I hope my boss isn't watching this right now.
I hope your boss is not watching.
Could you talk a bit about your camera setups while running? What works best and what doesn't work at all? That is something we love to talk about. Ryan, what do you film with right now?
So right now when I'm running, I use a GoPro Hero 9. I've used the 8, 7, 6, 5. I'm totally not sponsored by GoPro, but that's all I've ever used.
And the 9 is exceptional, right? Like there's struggles a little bit with the color. We've talked about this a couple times, but the horizon leveling, the stabilization, it's so good.
The coloring, there's some GoPro kind of messed that up on the 9 in my opinion, and I know they can change it with a firmware update. It's just you put the colors on flat and they're super saturated and you can't do anything with them, and the yellows and the oranges are just like they're unchangeable. Like you can't shift them. Like it's just I have a lot of struggles with the Hero 9, and it's mainly just because the flat colors are just they're hard to work with.
I wish they would include like just a handful of picture profiles, like a Sony camera, like Cine 1, Cine 2, D-Cine, like whatever they want to call it, and just give us more options. I know if it was really flat, I don't want to get too nerdy on this, but I know if it was a really flat profile like S-Log or whatever, I don't know if we'd be able to get that color back because it's only 8-bit kind of low quality video, but it'd be nice to have a little bit more options, something less. Something about those colors, it reminds me of their commercials, which they're usually beautifully filmed, but they're always just like so in your face, like here's a guy skydiving and now a snowmobile crashing into a wall, and it's like crazy, whereas we're just trail running, like we're not jumping out of an airplane. So just having like high quality, good looking cinematic footage is what we're looking for, and I just so happen to have it right here. Look at that. Just chilling on my desk.
I mean, the 8 was much better as far as getting a flat profile. Like you could do a lot more with that. It's still, reds are just awful on GoPros. I don't want to sound like I'm trashing GoPro. That's all I've ever used. So it's like, I obviously, like it's built my channel. Yeah. So I use it a lot. But like reds go from like 0 to 100 in like no time. Like there's no saturation. It's just either saturated red or not. And I wear a lot of red shirts, so that's not cool. And and then Rob was wearing a red shirt at every race for the documentary, so that was hard. I wish, like, I think they'll fix it with a firmware update, hopefully, because
do you ever use your phone for video when you're running?
Nope, I don't ever take my phone when I'm running.
You're nuts, man. You're nuts. How do you listen to podcasts?
I don't like running with $1,000 piece of glass in my pocket.
Fair enough. You got to get the right shorts. That's what I've dialed mine into the Past Projects Psych shorts. They have a big pocket in the back. Or the REI On the Trail shorts. Those are my two go-tos.
Interesting.
Let's bring up some more. What's your favorite show?
TV show?
Yeah. What do you watch on Netflix?
Are we doing an all-time favorite, or just like what did I watch recently that was my favorite?
Let's go wild. I'm gonna crack a beer for this one, by the way.
Okay,
that's happening.
I have
all time.
I have a watermelon LaCroix, however you say it.
We all know. There's a little bit of bourbon in that LaCroix.
Maybe. Okay, so if we're talking like all time, I mean, there's a lot of people that would say this, but like Breaking Bad.
That's a good one. Mad
Men. If you're talking about like comedy, it's obviously The Office for myself.
Yeah.
Office, Parks and Rec, stuff like that. But recently, I had like stumbled upon a YouTube video that was like really like talking about this show that's on Netflix and how cinematic it was, and just like it got me really into it. And I watched The Haunting of Hill House. And that was like really, really good. That was one. It actually came out last year, but again, I don't watch a ton of stuff anymore because I'm usually like editing videos or something. But that was really good. Another comedy that we've been watching recently, Schitt's Creek. Oh, sorry. I hope you didn't get demonetized for that. But.
I gotta click the not made for kids button now. Thanks Ryan.
Is it TV show?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's a good one. What about you?
I like I'll agree, like all time. So I'm a little torn on this. All time, my wife and I, when we first met, like our big thing was the show Lost. Do you ever watch that?
Yeah.
That was like a big we would like, you remember what was the name of the bad guy company in that? They had like a symbol in the name, but they had beers.
Oh.
Like they found beers in like a shelter.
Dharma Initiative.
That's it. Yeah, the Dharma, and they had the little diamond logo.
Yeah.
And so we used to like print out that logo and put it on our beers while we watched it, like to try to be like,
Nice.
we are Desmond and we are, you know, whoever else.
Nice.
That was was
Nice.
like when we were dating, and I feel like that was a big reason why we connected so well and like eventually got
Sweet.
married. So maybe
Yeah.
that, but also Breaking Bad's huge, and I've been watching lately. I'm really enjoying Superstore. That's just hilarious. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's just like dumb
Never
humor,
seen that.
but if I'm
Yeah.
up late at night, it's funny to watch on Hulu.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Piggybacking on that, I'm curious. Are there any YouTube channels that you watch that someone would be like, "Whoa, that's weird. Why is he like?" We all expect you to
Oh,
be.
good question.
We all expect you to be watching like Ginger Runner, Billy Yang, or whoever. But is there somebody who like maybe you're like a woodworker or like somebody who like digs up mushrooms or I don't know. There's something for everybody out there. So what's your
Let me
like
see.
secret?
I'm looking.
What's the word I'm looking for? Your secret passion on YouTube.
I'm looking through my subscriptions right now, see if I can find anything that's like off the beaten path that people might not expect. I mean, I watch a lot of the photography and running channels and videography.
Do you watch the
Some
tech
new
stuff,
stuff.
like MKBHD? and-
MKBHD, yeah. Man.
There's got to be a little secret in there somewhere.
I don't know if there's anything like super weird.
All right, I'll go first on that one. I watch a lot of machining videos. This is like literally a CNC machine, like milling metal. Because of my career, there's certain things that those machines do that kind of blow my mind. So I end up watching some of those, and they'll pop up in my feed, and I'll be like, "Whoa, that's pretty interesting." So that's it's weird, you know, if you caught somebody watching just a piece of metal fly through the air.
Yeah,
But you know, I'm into it.
Okay, so I've got two. One's like super weird, and another one is like, okay, so the really, really weird one is like I like watching this YouTube channel called Mountain Beast Mysteries, and it's all about Bigfoot. But I think I like watching it because it's about outdoor stuff. Like it's literally this guy lives in Canada, and he just goes on these epic camping trips looking for Bigfoot, and like he finds like trees that are knocked over, and he talks about them and stuff. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, okay, so that's way off the beaten path. And then there's another one that's like, it's all about like, he dives into like these like lost stories about like this flight that got lost or something. And it's called Let Me Know. That's a good YouTube channel too. He just like looks at these like unsolved mysteries and puts like once every 3 or 4 months, puts together like a 30-minute video that's like super well done.
That's awesome. All right. Do any of you like anime? Personally, I don't. My kid does. How about you?
I never watched it. Nope. Sorry.
Hi, guys. Hoping to get back to running soon. Caught the COVID. Oh, no. Really? Let me know, like, if you're still there. I'd be interested to hear how it's affected your running, because I've always wondered. I've seen stories on the Facebook groups, like Trail and Ultra Running, about that, and I'm just kind of curious, like, how long it takes to bounce back from and how bad it really is.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, there's a couple people that I follow that one girl's had it for like 6 months.
Oof, that's not good.
Eric, I think it has a lot. It's just it hits people differently.
Eric the Red says Ryan's viewers are corrupting the Chase the Summit channel. I'll accept
Go subscribe to it.
Dave, I think you made me want a DJI Mini 2. Yeah, man, cool. The only thing I will say, if you're using it for like sports stuff, like riding a bike or running, it doesn't have that active track. I think I mentioned in the video, but so you can't just run and let the thing like follow you. But otherwise, it's been a lot of fun. Matt LeGrand, can I just say Ryan's style on camera is so mellow and welcoming. I think my blood pressure drops when I'm watching his channel. That's a very nice compliment.
Nice.
Because I feel like I'm like, hey everybody, I'm Dave from today, and you're just like, you're just chill, you know, you just ease in there.
Yeah. My dad told me one day, he was like, he was watching the no business video, and he was like, it was really good, but then at the end when you got on there and just talking to the camera, you were like, it was like you were really excited about something, and it was like, it was much better when you were just running.
Wow. That's why I don't show my dad my videos.
Yeah. No, it was, I mean, it was very, I get it. Like when I'm standing there in front of the camera, I'm just like, hey, what's up? I'm like,
I'm curious, in person, I don't know you in person. I know you on this little screen in front of me and on your YouTube channel.
We need to do a race sometime together. Or
yeah,
something.
man. Even if it's like a midpoint somewhere, we should like meet up and do a 100 mile or something. That'd be a lot of fun.
Go shoot for an FKT or something.
Yeah, you'll be the one shooting there. I'll be supplying you with water along the way. I'm curious though, in person, are you the same guy we watch on YouTube, or are you somebody else? Like if one of your buddies from your hometown was to see your channel, would they be like, who is this guy and what have they done with Ryan Clayton?
No, I'm pretty much the same. Yeah, like, I mean, this just sitting talking right here, like this is how I talk to everyone at work and church. And well, I'm a little more professional at work because I manage people, but
Fair
so
enough.
I guess that would be the one thing where, yeah, I don't know if anyone from work watches my YouTube channel, but they would probably be pretty surprised.
I've actually,
but
I actually caught one of my you know how you get the recent subscribers feed, and it
I never look at that.
yeah, it's hard
point.
to like when you're, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to brag or anything, but when you're getting a lot, they're hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
And so I mean, this was, I don't know, maybe like 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers. I saw one of my coworkers' names in there and I was like, no, how did he find me? Because I definitely don't publicly, I don't tell anybody because, you know, it might give people the impression that I'm not totally focused at work when I am. So do you feel that pain at all, or is it a different situation for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, like the actual day job I have, since I manage people, I've made the rule I'm not friends with them on Facebook or anything like that. Like at the other couple jobs I have, like I'm pretty sure everyone I know there like follows me and watches stuff. So I don't, like, sometimes I think about it, but for the most part, it never really crosses my mind. I've never had a situation where it was like an awkward thing where someone was like, hey, I found your YouTube channel. But no, I do think about that though. Like, what if it came across as, like you said, giving the wrong impression that I'm not focusing at work.
Right.
Yeah, but no, it's never really come up. And I don't do anything that I could actually, like, that I should actually be worried about. Like, it's just, yeah.
Now, on that same topic, have you ever showed up at you're closing in on 8,000 subscribers now. Congratulations. You're pretty close,
thanks.
right?
Yeah.
So have you ever been to like a starting line at a race and had somebody been like, hey man, love your channel? Yeah.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and it's really fun when it happens. I love talking to people that like, I mean, it's really fun because, like, that's why I do this. It's I mean, part of it is I love the fun side of, making a video and putting it out, and the artistic side, the creative side. But the other part of it that I love is that I can maybe help some people and give some people some advice and some knowledge. I mean, that's why, like, the most recent video I put up on my channel was, what did I put in my drop bags for a 100 miler? And it was a video that I was honestly not terribly inspired to make, because it just felt like I was rehashing a bunch of old stuff that I had talked about on the channel before, but never like compiled just in one video, where I was like, there's so much other stuff out there on the internet that can help people. But the response back has been like really positive. People just being like, this is so cool. Like, I've always had a lot of questions about what to put in drop bags. And when that sort of thing happens, like that's like really exciting, and that makes it all worth it. And then absolutely when I see people at the start line or running down the trail or something, they'll turn and be like, "Hey, Ryan, I just watched your last video like yesterday."
That's awesome.
Like people message me like, they're like, "Hey man, just want to let you know I'm starting the Jackson County 50 miler in 10 minutes. And I just watched your video like 2 times while I was getting ready this morning." And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that is so cool. Like, I mean, it's just, it like, because that, I went through that same journey, like watching some of these other guys that are super big right now, that we mentioned earlier, you know? And so I would have that same reaction. I did have that same reaction when I met Jamil. I was just like starstruck, stumbled words out of my mouth. And he was like, that's actually kind of a funny story. I don't know if I've ever told it on my YouTube channel, but we were at Western States and I was like super like hyper focused on filming Camille Heron, and she's checking in, she's getting her bib number and everything. And then I like come around some people, and standing right there is Jamil. And he was just like, "What's up, Ryan?" And I was like, "What?"
He knew your
said,
name?
"You know my name?" And he goes, "Yeah, what's up, man?"
Wow.
I was like, "Just hanging out." And I was just like, yeah. So I have that same type of like reaction when I see people like that I, you know, learned everything from. And so it's just really like, it's really cool to now kind of like feel like maybe there's a couple people out there that I was able to, you know, help, give them some encouragement or just some knowledge about, hey, don't do this, do this or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel the same way.
It's really fun.
I've gotten spotted a couple times, and it feels good. I don't know. Like I feel like people are probably a little like nervous or scared to say something, but I don't know. If you ever bump into me, say hi, because I love it, and I'd be happy to talk to you. Except for at the Vermont 100, I was at mile 47, about to DNF, and this girl was like, "Hey, I saw your Chase the Summit video. Yeah, that was so cool." And you know, I forget the name of the. It was called The Grind. It was just like a day in daily life, you know, making breakfast for my kids and stuff. And she was like, "Yeah, that grind video, that was great." And I was literally like having spasms in my legs, and I couldn't even walk. And I was like sucking down a popsicle and hoping it would bring me back to life. I was like, "Yeah,
like, hold on, give me a second, I gotta puke."
And she was like, "I can't wait to see the recap video." I was like, "Yeah, there's not gonna be one. I'm sorry, but I need to get in this van and get back to my car."
Yep.
Hey, I got a question for you. You've been doing a lot of reviews lately about, you know, various things. We've talked a lot about watches and stuff that we've reviewed at the same time. It's been cool to have somebody to like ping ideas off of it. And Matt LeGrand, you know, see him in the chat there. How do you feel like, I know we talk about this like privately, but like navigating the waters with a brand, if you receive something and it's not up to your standards, right? And I'll save my opinion for after you respond to this. How do you how do you interact with that company and tell them, "Hey, I can post you know, a negative review or whatever"? Or how do you navigate the waters of that communication?
Yeah, I think I've never actually really been in that situation where I got something that I had to put out a review on and I didn't like it. Because I mean, for the most part, like I've only had a few companies send me watches, and those you can always find a ton of good stuff to say about them. But for everything else that companies send me, I'm super blunt right up front that I will unbox it on my channel, and then if I like it, it might show up in a vlog. And if I really like it, I'll review it. And so a lot of stuff people see once and never again. You know, things I like you'll see it pop up in a bunch of vlogs because I really like it. You know, like I got a belt that has a little bag on it, and it's great because it perfectly fits the GoPro. Blah blah blah. You know, and you'll see it all the time or whatever. But I've never, fortunately, at this point, I've never been in a situation where I was like, I've never posted anything that I was like, that I felt, I guess, morally wrong about posting. Like I've never like had to post anything that was like a paid sponsored thing that I just really didn't believe in. Like I've never put myself in that situation. And I think it's just because of from early on, I just kind of made that call that I might not get as much free stuff sent to me, but I'm going to be super blunt to these people that they're not going to get much back. I mean, if you want some exposure, send me your stuff and if I really like it, but you should be able to stand by that if you're a company.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like one company that I'll actually shout them out because they're awesome. Janji, they sent me a bunch of clothes and I wear their clothes all the time. And like, they were literally like, we don't even care if you, like, we just want you to have this. Like, we don't care if it's in the video. If it shows up in the video, great. But we just believe in these clothes so much that we think you're going to like them a lot. And I'm like, that is the coolest thing that a company can do because that shows a ton of confidence in their own brand. And I mean, it's just like, it sets the stage for a really good relationship. So
yeah, I agree.
That's the kind of stuff I look forward to and we'll definitely jump on if, more companies handle things that way.
I feel like they can see when you're in a situation where you're being forced to do something. And I'm with you on that. So I won't, if I find something, I have found things I don't like, and I will give the contact the option. I can make a negative review video, or I can send it back to you. Those are the two options. And I'm not going to make a positive
actually
review.
I just did that.
Oh, okay. You don't have to tell us the item, but
it doesn't even work. And the company, it doesn't do it. Well, I guess it works for what they claim now, but it's not what the impression was when they sent it to me. And so I was like, I'm not even going to make a video on this. If you want it back, you can have it.
Yeah.
And they never responded back. So,
and I think I get the drift from a lot of manufacturers that they would actually rather you give them a negative review because like any news is good news for a lot of people, for a lot of companies. Although I did post a don't buy a Nordic Track video. I don't think that would help their sales too much, but it's there. It's a weird line to walk with a lot. And in a lot of times, it's like overseas, the communication, their language isn't perfect and it's hard to kind of understand what they want from you. And then there's the people that are just offering money for a positive review. And I've never done that. But it's a weird, the whole thing. I feel like I need a veteran YouTuber to tell us how to do this because it's a really strange journey communicating with a lot of these companies.
For sure.
All right, let's grab a couple of Eric the Red. I'm a fan of both your channels. Thank you. Matt LeGrand has a question. What are the big goals for either of you for your channels? That was a question I was going to have. Long term, where do you want your channel to go? Where do you want to stay in this niche? Do you want to expand? What's the end game, or do you have one, or are you just trying to play day by day right now?
Yeah, that's a good question, Matt. Thanks for asking. I mean, like long term, it would be great if the channel could end up, paying for itself. And it'd be great if it became like a source of like solid income, and I could spend more time on it. I mean, I think every YouTuber's dream is to go full time. So that's obviously up there. As far as like the niche that I'm in, like I love it. Like there's a lot of other things I've like contemplated doing. I've contemplated starting another channel or two, for different things. But right now I'm loving what I'm doing, and really in like the super long term, I would hope that I could like go full time. It'll pay for itself. But I see like a stage before that happening where I am really working towards working with like some more like production companies. Like I've actually been talking to a couple like one actual like TV channel, and then a couple other different brands about like trying to create some documentary content. and it all has come from YouTube and then the Running the Triple Crown documentary. So
cool. Yeah.
After we get the COVID under control and, we can, move on from that and start working together, person to person, face to face again. There's actually, hopefully there'll be some cool opportunities that come from that where I can work in video and film production, but not specifically on my YouTube channel. And then, like I said, I would really love to get into more narrative work as well. Like I've got a couple script ideas that I'm like working on. And then, like that would be an absolute blast to do some of that kind of stuff, like to actually be able to like set up a shot and be like, okay, we're gonna, this is the scene and this character walks over here and we're going to talk about this and here's the tension and here's what this character wants and here's what this character wants. And we're going to trying to capture that on film rather than just like running around with a GoPro, like spraying everything, like trying to like running around with my camera, like following Rob through the mountains or something. Like, yeah, I mean, I love documentaries. Like I think you can get some incredibly exciting stuff and they can take you to some amazing places, but I really have a itch for like doing that narrative, like really setting something up and really telling like a proper story that you've written.
And you might even have an audio guy and a grip to like carry your stuff around. And
yeah, exactly.
All those things that you don't have when you're like a one-man band and you've got an A7 III with a shotgun mic on and you're trying to, you've got a backpack with batteries in it, trying to get everything done.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So much stuff I've learned over the projects that I've done running around Western states. Like it was so fast. I mean, Camille was only on the course for like 8 hours or so before she had to pull out. But yeah, I mean, it was like sprinting, getting in the car and like driving as fast as we could. And like literally like backpack on my lap, holding a Ronin with a camera in it and my handheld in this other hand and like sliding in the back seat, like I mean that type of stuff. And then like the other side of like the Triple Crown where I'm like, yeah, I mean it's just like I've like so much of that stuff has been learning opportunities that I can take and move forward, and like it's just been a blast. Like it's been so much fun.
Yeah, I mean the more you do that stuff, the better you get at it, right? So,
right. Yeah.
I love the Haunting of Hill House. That was great. We're a little behind on the chat, I think.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dark on Netflix? I haven't. Have you seen Dark on Netflix?
Yeah. I watched the first season. It was awesome.
Nice. Eric the Red.
I would definitely recommend it. Watching it with the subtitles. It's better with the actual characters' voices. I watched the English translation. And it wasn't great. It's all in German.
Oh, that's already a no-go for me. Sorry.
Yeah, reading.
It's not weird because you're an engineer. Oh yeah, the machining videos. Are either of you signed up for races? Are you signed up for anything for 2021?
Yep.
You are? What do you got on that?
I'm signed up for the Cruel Jewel 100 in May down in Georgia. 100 miles.
Yikes.
33,000 feet of elevation gain. I'm excited for it. And it's one of those that's like I am attracted to those races that are just like really, really difficult.
Yeah, same.
Why? It's because it scares me so bad, I think, that I train harder for them.
Yeah.
What's the
hardest race? Well, I guess that's subjective because you might have been in different fitness levels, but what was the hardest race you've ever completed?
So I think the hardest race I've ever completed, probably like the one that every single mile I didn't know if I was going to finish, was Grindstone 100. It was my first 100 mile. So every mile, it was my first time running past 50 miles too. So every step after 50 miles was farther than I'd ever gone. And that course is just, I mean, for people on the East Coast like yourself, you probably wouldn't describe it as being as brutal as I saw it coming from Indiana.
The Beast Coast.
It was a freaking difficult course.
Yeah. No, that's
Run Rabbit Run was really hard too, but Run Rabbit Run had views that just took your breath away, and so there was a lot of you got a lot of energy from what you were looking at. Like you're running through the mountains, the Rocky Mountains in Colorado.
Yeah.
You know,
killer.
so many views. Grindstone, it was just like you were in a tree tunnel for 100 miles running on rocks.
Yeah, that's the East Coast for you.
Like, oh, here's some dirt. Oh, it's gone. More rocks.
I think the hardest race I ever did was actually a 50 miler, and it was the Kilkenny Ridge Race in New Hampshire. It has 17,000 feet in 50 miles, and it is
wow, nice.
like insane. It's 25 miles out and back, and all of the aid stations are backcountry aid stations that volunteers have to hike supplies up to, and then filter water for the runners going by. So it was like,
oh, nice,
really out there. Oh yeah, and I'm signed up for 3 races next year. Eastern States 100. Hey, you should pop by. You're close by.
Nice.
Vermont 100 that I got deferred, and the Mid-State Massive 100 that I was planning to run this year. Got injured, my back got jacked up, and so now I've got 3 and they're very close together. So the likelihood of all 3 happening is pretty low. Like I think
when are they?
So Eastern States is Pennsylvania. That's August 8th, I think. Okay. I want to say, and then Vermont's in July 20th, so that's already tight right there. And then Mid-State's October 10th. So it's not a lot of recovery going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do my damnedest. I think the one I'm most attracted to is Eastern States, though, because I've never been there. I've been to the other 2 races, and I'm really curious about the Eastern States course because I hear
that's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I hear it's a butt kicker. It's got like 23,000 feet of gain.
Some people that like after Grindstone, we were all sitting around, and a bunch of people that finished talking about comparing races, and a lot of people said Grindstone was really similar to Eastern States.
Oh, so and then you said that was the hardest one you've ever done. So there we are.
Yeah.
Austin S., what are the ages of your kids? How old are your kids, Ryan?
5 and 7.
I've got 2, 4, and 8. So we've both got a handful going on. What microphones do both of you use? You look like you've got the Shure. What is it?
SMB7.
Yeah. The beast, the one that Joe Rogan uses for his podcast.
That's true. Yeah.
I've got the cheap brother called the Rode Pod mic. That was only $99. Sounds okay though.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and I used to use one of those for everything else. I used to use one of those one of those Rode Video Mic Pros. But then I was like, I've got a Sennheiser MKE 600 or something that I used for like my documentary stuff. And then I was just like, why am I not using that for everything? It's like a 10 times better mic than this the Rode Video Mic Pro. So I've been using this like 10-inch long like shotgun mic for all my videos recently, and I think it's helped out a lot. So it's been great.
Yeah,
but then when you run with a GoPro,
I went down the rabbit hole on that too, and then I ended up with this setup up here.
Sweet.
The Rode NTG, but yeah, they all sound good these days. There's a lot of good microphones out there. What chest strap do you use? Do you still wear a chest strap, or have you moved on?
When I wear a chest strap and need to get like critical heart rate readings, I use the Polar H10.
Nice. And do you pair that with the Apple Watch, or do you pair that with a Polar Watch?
No, I'll pair it with any of the other like GPS watches, like Suunto, Polar, Coros. Nice. Usually, the Apple Watch. I mean, it's fine. Like the heart rate reading is fine on it. But usually I only take that out on just like kind of like daily runs where maybe I'll do some intervals, but not anything crazy. It's kind of like my weekday watch that I wear because it's always on my wrist and just like time to go for a run. Okay, let's go.
I got the SE and I really like it, but like after a week of wearing it, I got so sick of charging it every day. It's just like, it's not my thing. So I'm back to the 945 for now.
I just charge mine as soon as I wake up. I put it on the charger, and by the time I've had my coffee and everything, it's good to go.
Yeah, they charge pretty quick. It's not like the end of the world. I'm just obnoxious.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I can't believe my favorite YouTubers are here. Like even Matt is here. Great stream. Love the channel.
Nice.
Great work. Thanks, Austin.
Who said that?
Austin S. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. Michael Sessler, did you ever get rid of that first Nordic track? Nope. Still sitting in my living room. So we're trying to figure out where we're going to put our Christmas tree. It might actually go on the treadmill. But
I'll send you my address.
It's like 400. Dude, that thing, it is the heaviest. Like I'm a little man. Okay. But I can move things. And I moved my old treadmill out pretty easily. I got, this new one is like a whole different level. It's got to be, I'm 400 pounds, and it's not something with handles. Like it's just a huge, such a crazy object. That was outrageous. I agree. Which GPS watch would you suggest to me? I'm considering getting the Apex Pro or Garmin 745. Honestly, if you want a smartwatch, get the 745. If you want a reliable GPS watch, get the Apex Pro. They're both, it's not apples to apples. They're pretty different, but they'll both collect good data, and the Apex Pro has crazy battery life. 745 does not have crazy battery life. It has pretty subpar battery life, but it gives you a lot of the niceties of, extra activities and stuff. So yeah. Any thoughts on that, Ryan?
If they're the same price, I go with the Garmin because it's a better ecosystem.
But the Garmin has 16 hours of GPS on time, the 745.
Yeah.
That'll get you through most things.
I used the Phoenix 3 for all my ultras up until like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so
we are all
charge it halfway.
Koros has made the entire trail running community snobs because
exactly.
Back in the day, I had the 3 and the 3HR, and that had like 12 hours. I couldn't even get through a 50 miler with the 3HR.
Yeah.
And you had to have the power bank with the wire connected to the thing, and it was a big pain in the butt.
Before Koros came out, it was totally normal to either use 2 watches and try to use some like third-party software to stitch the files together, or charge it halfway. Like that's what I always did. Like in one of my nighttime drop bags, I just had a power bank and the cable, and you're hiking most of the time anyway during the night, at least I am, and you just get the cable, wrap it around your arm, stick it in your pack, and don't even hardly notice it's there. And 2 hours later, it's charged.
And actually,
Koros has changed the game on it for sure.
The 3 and the 3HR, the Phoenix 3 and 3HR, actually had that cradle charger too, which was great. Like it was low profile. You could wear it while it was charging and like run it up your sleeve or whatever. And then they got rid of that, which is kind of a bummer for me.
Yeah. Even the Sunto 9 was okay. Like, I still wore it on my wrist, charging it during races. It's a little bit bigger than the Cradle, though. But
I just started running and started training because I got a problem where the handheld-derived LF on my chute, and it's vibrating my leg. I'm not sure I understand. Let me reread this. I just started running and started training because I got a problem when the handheld arrived LF on my chute. Airy LF. Are you talking about a camera? He was having.
Are you talking about the Ari Alexa?
Yeah, he was talking about the Ari LF, the large format one with the 35 millimeter sensor. Yikes! So I guess he was having trouble with his strength to hold that camera. So he started running to build up the fitness. That's probably the most unique reason I've ever heard for someone to get into running. But congratulations on that Ari LF. I'll take it off your hands.
Who was that? I need to connect with that person.
Shahurul Nizam. Sorry if I butchered your name.
Nice.
Do either of you think you'll ever get burned out on running ultras? How do you feel on that?
I can't see into the future, so right now, like, I love it. But I could see a point where it becomes the return on investment isn't where it is now, because it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of time. And you have to be really excited about it. I mean, going for Saturday 30-mile runs to train for a 100-miler, like weekends in a row, that takes a lot of time. And that's part of the reason why I moved away from Ironman, was number one, honestly, so the biggest reason was bike safety. Like I had a couple really super close calls with cars, and then I actually, unrelated to a car, I did crash my bike because I thought a hawk was attacking me.
Sorry to laugh.
Yeah, no, and it really sucked. It was like a week before my first kid was born, and I'm riding my bike just down a normal road, no cars anywhere, and this hawk like swoops down and it's coming straight towards me, and then it kind of goes a little bit to the left, and then it starts swooping back towards me, and it like buzzed my head, like it went right over. Whoa. But like I kind of turned to like watch it because I thought I was getting attacked by a hawk. He's like defending something probably, and then just the slight turn of my body, my bike went off the road and caught something, and I did a couple flips, and my helmet cracked in half in the back.
Oh man.
And I was like, thought I was in some serious trouble, but walked away from it.
Wow.
Bike was kind of messed up, helmet was cracked. And then after that, and there was 2 really close calls with cars, people just being idiots and doing stuff on purpose, like swerving towards me and stuff. That was just like, my daughter's about to be born. Like, so for the rest of that Ironman season, I trained on a trainer, and doing like 8-hour trainer rides is not fun.
Oh, no.
And so it's like, so after that, I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to do trail running. That's a little bit more, that's a little bit safer. And, but yeah, the return on investment, like there'll probably be a time where maybe that's just not where it always has been. And I hope that doesn't come anytime soon, because I love running hundreds. Like, they're such an amazing experience, and they teach you a lot about yourself, and they give you opportunities to work through things and do things that most people will never ever do. But
I feel you on that. I mean, my energy level for like my excitement for races goes up and down in waves. And sometimes I'm on ultra sign up and like, boom, I'm in, And last year I had a series of really good races. I was like in the close to the front of the pack, and, 5-hour 50K, and like a lot of things went really well for me. And then I kind of crashed and burned a little bit. Like that DNF in Vermont really bummed me out more than I thought it would. And, then you lose a little bit of fitness, and then it's like a rapid cycle of, the mental game of trying to get yourself psyched back up. But I feel like I love the community so much. I love aid stations. I love the finish line. It's such a insane thing, and the people are always so excited that I'm not sure I could ever get burned out on that. So I might just become a back of the pack guy and be happy with that when I get older.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's such a, like, if you want to say compete, right, in an ultra and be that guy who's in the top 10, you're committing a crap load of time, risk of injury, neglecting your family potentially. And there's a lot that goes into it that people don't see. They just see Ryan, the administrative worker guy that runs hundreds in his spare time. But all the stuff that happens in the background is just, it's crazy to be at that level. And I can't even fathom Ironman training with all 3. Like, you got to be good at everything. Like, you can't just be a good runner. I guess you could be a really good runner and then like be okay at the other 2 and compensate, but it seems like a lot of work.
I mean, like you really have to do well at Ironman, you have to actually be strong at all of them. Yeah. Because it's a domino effect. I mean, you could be an incredible 3-hour marathon runner, but if you can't ride a bike worth crap, like, you're going to be on it for 10 hours.
Yeah, that's what other forms of fitness do you guys do? Do you have any, do you like go to the gym, or do you just stick to the treadmill?
I really don't have time to do much other than running. I do some like body weight stability exercises. that's about it.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same boat. And like people are always like, you got to crop. Even my wife she's a kind of fitness nut, and she has a little fitness group here in town. She's a certified trainer and everything. And she just always like, maybe you should do something else. And I'm like, I don't have time to do both things. So I'll, maybe do push-ups or something like just body weight exercise. And I I rock climb and ice climb, which gives me a little bit of other mobility, but nothing crazy. How do you only have 17,000? You should have at least 100K. Thanks, man. You should post that everywhere. Thanks.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one watch for a 100-mile race, oh man, am I taking up too much of your time? We're going over an hour here. We'll wrap up soon.
No, we're fine.
I promise.
No, we're fine.
Okay, cool.
We can do Joe Rogan style, 3 hours.
If you had to choose one watch for a 100-mile race today, what would it be? That goes to you. That includes any that you haven't tried yet.
The one I just used was the Kronos Vertex, and I would pick it. I mean, it's a very good feeling knowing that your battery's not going to die.
Yeah.
Like knowing that you don't even have to worry about that. Having the navigation on it was a really good peace of mind too. Like it's not the best navigation in the world, but there were several times where I was able to confirm that I was going the right way, which is nice. And they also have a vertical chart on there that you can scroll through and look like what's coming up ahead. So I mean, I would love to get back with Garmin, but at this point, until they can figure out that battery life that can be like just like totally reliable for really long hundreds, because Cruel Jewel next year, like the normal human pace is like 40 hours. It's like there's a 48-hour limit. And the like top 10 guys are finishing like sub 30.
Ooh, wow.
So
I would tend to agree. I really like Garmin watches, and the new ones are good for up to like 35 hours. Like I finished the mid-state 26 hours and 40 minutes, and I had like 30% left on my battery. Didn't charge it at all.
Nice.
So that's pretty solid. But yeah, the Vertex, I feel like that's like, if you could just keep a race watch and like put it in a box and like, I'll just grab that when I have a race. I feel like that's like the ideal race watch, because it's no frills, it's got navigation, and the battery just like, it's like you said, you never even have to look at the percentage. It's just going to go. When I tested it out, it's like hard keeping track of the charging cable because you never need it. Like as a smartwatch,
find it. Yeah.
As a smartwatch, it goes for like over a month. It's insane.
Yeah.
If you don't run a lot, but so I would say right now.
I agree with your assessment on it though. Like I would use it just as a race watch. Like I hardly use it other than that. Yeah.
The unfortunate part in that is it's a $600 watch. So if you've got
and that's where like I can never recommend it. Like I don't like recommending it because it's way overpriced. Yeah. But
that's where
it is what it is.
That's where the Apex Pro,
it's
it's 40 hours. It's not 60 hours, but that's still a crap load of battery life. It'll get you by. And I think this is 450 right now. Either way, I love the Pace 2. I updated that video. This thing's so cool for the money, and I wish they could make like a plastic Vertex with crazy battery life at a budget price point, because that thing would just totally dominate the whole market. Like the whole trail scene would just be wearing a Pertix, we'll call it.
There we go.
What are your backgrounds in running? Do you have any tips for transitioning to ultras? You explain your background from triathlons. How did you transition from triathlon work to ultra work?
And this is what, I go through this with a lot of my athletes, because a lot of them have been starting to transition to ultras as well. And it's more of a mindset shift than a physical shift, or even like a training. Like your training approach does change. There's some very important things that you need to change in your training as far as how what your phases look like moving closer to the race. If you're training for a half marathon or a 10K or something, you're gonna like your cycles of training are going to look different. You're going to be doing the things that are more similar to your race, closer to your race. So that means you're going to be running faster toward it, like towards the end of your training, and you're going to be running the slower, like longer miles at the beginning. With an ultra, that's flipped. And so you might, in the middle of winter, you might be working on your VO2 max so that in the summer you can run a 100-miler. And as you get closer to that, you're going to be switching up your phases to be more race-like. And so like, that's the biggest, like, it's a mindset change. It's a pace change. Like, you just gotta slow down. You cannot, like, if you're a 2-hour half marathoner, you're not going to be running that pace for your first 50,
yeah,
50 mile.
Yeah.
It's a training shift, but then it's also a mindset shift of, okay, it's okay to walk up the hills.
Yeah.
It's okay to take 3 minutes at this aid station and make sure I get some food in me, because I got 10 hours left on this race.
I feel like a lot of people have asked me, like, when do you know you're ready? Right? Like, you're training, you have goals of doing a 50-miler, and my answer, I mean, from my experience, is like, you're never gonna feel ready. The only thing you can do is pull the trigger, put it on the calendar, and then train your butt off to be in the best shape you can be to hit your goal. And maybe your goal is just to finish the race, or maybe it's to run 8 hours or something. But there's never a time where you're like, well, that run went great. I guess I'll hit that button. I'll sign up now. And I feel like even the top dogs, the elite athletes, like Matt Daniels or whoever, they probably feel a similar way. Even though they're faster, it's still hard. Never gets easy because you're good. It just gets faster because you're good. So
that's a good point. It never gets easier. It just, you
get better at it.
Start running faster.
Yeah. But I will, like, I like what you said there, because even like now, like this most recent 100-miler that I did, the week leading up to it, I had some serious doubts of my fitness, even though I knew I was in some of the best shape of my life. Those doubts are always there. And I was just like, am I really prepared to do like 24 to 30 hours on the trail? Like, I don't know but I think that's a good thing. I think having a little bit of that healthy fear, I think that's a good thing.
I feel like it's funny because I always have those butterflies at the starting line, and you always feel like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what brought me here? I'm not ready for this. These other people look like they're prepared. I'm not prepared. But once you start moving, it's like that all fades away, and it's just
oh my gosh,
it turns into like a meditative state of like, run, drink, eat, run, drink. You're doing the things to get yourself through it. And it's all it takes. Like, I guess that's the best part, right? Like, when you actually,
the release of when the gun goes off is just, it is the most amazing feeling when you've had, whether it's been 2 weeks of training or 9 months of training, like when the race starts, there's nothing else you can do to prepare for it. You're in it. Yeah. Like, you're going, like you don't need to worry about, did I pack that thing in that bag? It's like you're in it. And like, that's one of the like most amazing feelings
totally agree.
In racing and in training, is like that moment that you start running. You're like, okay, we're just in it right now. There's nothing else to do. When you're
in a race, this is kind of off topic, and we're going way too long, but when you're in a race, how do you strategize, like, for your mental state? Do you go aid station to aid station? Do you do mile by mile? Do you say every 10 miles when your watch beeps? For me, I'm like an aid station person, but then I get shot in the foot when I'm at a race that has like 10 aid stations for a 100-miler, and you're going 20 miles between aid stations. How do you work through that in your brain, so you don't hit that bonk or that mental low point?
Yeah. For me, like, it is definitely, the goal is always aid station to aid station, and to think about nothing else but getting to that next aid station, and to make sure you have to pace yourself for the distance. So you can't go around, okay, it's like 3.5 miles to the aid station. All right, let's go 7-minute pace. Like, you can't, I mean, like, I feel like that's probably obvious though, but like, you do have to compartmentalize it somehow. I like breaking it down into kind of big chunks. So like, like the halfway point, just really putting it in my head, like going through like the mental gymnastics beforehand of, okay, it's all downhill from here. Like once you get to the halfway point, you're going to get depressed because you're only halfway, but it's all downhill from here. And like every step you take is one step closer to, finishing this thing. And I have some mantras I say to myself, and they're nothing crazy, but like just little things that I'll say to myself that will, just help me stay focused. I try not to. I think the worst thing you can do in an ultra is think about how many miles you have left.
Oh, totally. If you're in 100-mile, until you get to that like 85-mile mark, then it's then it's like the countdown. The watch beeps. You're like, one more down, 14 more to go. And like, sure. I think the most amazing feeling is hitting 90 miles in a 100-miler, because you're basically,
once you get to that point where you're like, I could literally walk this in and be fine.
Yeah. As long as as long as you're not chasing cutoffs or anything, and you're just at that point that's like, oh man, I'm just going to cruise it in now. Like you see 3, 2, 1 finish line. Nothing better. It's a good feeling. I haven't felt that in a while because of stupid year that we've been having. Okay. If you had to choose one smartwatch that has GPS in everything for a kid, everything for a kid. Wow. I don't know, man. My 8-year-old has a Gizmo gadget. It's got LG in it, and he can actually call me from it and stuff. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't really know. Like, I guess it depends on the age of the kid, and if he's into running, then maybe like a Coros Pace, because it's really small. Yeah. And it's pretty inexpensive. So maybe one of these. I can't help more. I'm a studying aircraft engineer, but ended up as director of photography for a TV commercial film. Cool.
Wow.
When in shooting in Cape Town for Glenlivet. Oh, cool. Shoot, I got AMS problems when we go to record in Table Mountain. That I go run now. Oh, this is the guy with the Airy. he was giving me his backstory on why he has the.
He really has an Airy.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Let us borrow it. So we'll do a review.
Yeah. There we go.
Hello from Indiana. You guys are great. Hello, Jeremy Y from Indiana. You're Ryan's neighbor.
What's up, Jeremy?
Austin S.
I don't know who you are, but you're from Indiana, so.
Austin S. It's 2 a.m. here. I have to work, so I have to go soon. Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. We're going to be wrapping up here soon because it's getting pretty late here. I'm afraid to cycle in Tippecanoe country, especially in the last years. Crazy drivers. Yeah.
That's where I'm from, Tippecanoe County.
Oh, really?
That's where Purdue University is.
Wow.
And yeah.
Hey, man, I'm near Boston. Do you know what crazy drivers mean in this neck of town?
Yeah.
I actually tried. I was a mountain biker for a while, and then I tried road biking. And the car thing, nope. I actually sold. I bought a used bike. Had it for like a month, and I was like, nope. Put it on Craigslist. See you later.
Yeah.
Too scary.
It's just, I guess there's probably certain areas that are a lot better to cycle in, but for me, it was like, I mean, it felt like rolling the dice every time after a certain point.
I feel like that certain area would be Europe. That's where you want to buy a bike. That's when you're in luck.
In a place where people respected cyclists, I think it'd be.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be great. Yeah.
I love biking. It's the best. I also do some running. A good watch for biking. Do you have any comments on that, Ryan?
Yeah. I think the 945 would probably be great. 745. I used to use the 910 XT.
Oof.
Back in the day. It was like a big candy bar on your wrist.
Just dated yourself there. It was all chunky.
That's fine.
The chunky plastic thing that's on your wrist.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Hey man, that's how I did a bunch of races.
Thanks for your insights. I appreciate it. Sharing your experience. Thank you for watching. Favorite budget watch. We'll talk about that real quick. I'm gonna go Coros Pace 2 right now. What is your favorite watch? Budget watch, Ryan?
I haven't used that one, but I know a bunch of people that have. I think it's the 245 or the 235, something like that. that's a good running watch. I don't know if it has all the sports, but yeah, good running watch.
Cool. All right. With that, I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank Ryan Clayton for joining me tonight. It was actually a lot of fun. I feel like we could have had this conversation just as a video call and had a lot of fun. So really appreciate you taking the time. This was a pretty long call. I haven't done any, I think my longest live stream was like 2 hours. But
Nice.
yeah, thanks, man, for joining. It's been a ton of fun. Again, Ryan's channel will be linked down below in the description, along with the podcast version of this. You can subscribe and you'll hear that if you want to go for a run and listen to us jib jab for a while.
Nice.
And with that, I want to thank everybody in the chat for joining us tonight. This was a ton of fun, and I've got more guests lined up for future videos, so stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button down below, and if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody.